Are you bored with the Missouri-Tennessee game yet? Good, me neither. So let's take an even deeper dive into some specific snaps of this game and just bask in the glory of a Tennessee butt whipping coming up right now on Locked On Mizzou.
You are Locked On Mizzou, your daily podcast on the Missouri Tigers, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Hey, all you true sons and daughters, I'm John Miller, your Mizzou mafioso and the central scrutinizer of Missouri Tigers football and basketball. And just as a quick reminder, download the Game Time app, create an account, and use code LOCKEDONCollege for $20 off your first ticket purchase. But you know what? We're going to start here today with more on the Missouri-Tennessee football game just because I frankly had a blast this morning going back through all the snaps from the coach's cam angle. And one thing you learned in this ball game is, man, Cody Schrader is not just 3 yards in a cloud of dust anymore. That's for darn sure. He is making people miss constantly and just running also with the 3 yards in a cloud of dust element of getting what is there. When he needs 2 yards, he gets 3 more often than not in traffic. I think these outside zone plays that Missouri has run consistently all season, it just feels like Cody and the entire offensive line is just in a rhythm with that play right now. And once again, you saw against Tennessee, it became basically unstoppable in the second half as that Tennessee defense started to wear down a little bit. But you know what? I do want to start here actually with the Missouri passing game because this is a critical down here, 3rd down and 7 here on Missouri's first touchdown drive. I'll just bring up the snap here quickly. And as you see here, you've got 3 guys to the left side. This is 10 personnel with 4 receivers for Missouri and Cody Schrader in the backfield. You got Mekhi Miller here. I'll zoom in for you for those of you on YouTube. Pre-snap here, not obvious that he's the guy to throw to, but that is indeed who Brady Cook throws the football to. As you see the guy here on the inside for the Volunteers, well, he comes on a pressure, so Miller has a one-on-one matchup with the safety here, runs a really nice route here, makes him think he's going inside, gets wide open enough that it's a really easy throw for Cook, gets all the way down to the 5-yard line, some yards after the catch as well. You'll notice Brady Cook here hangs in the pocket, which is kind of collapsing on the inside of him too, hangs in there, makes a nice throw, again on 3rd down. Next play, Schrader takes it in the end zone from 5 yards out. So the point here is that if Mekhi Miller and Marquise Johnson, Daniel Blood, if Missouri can get more wide receivers involved, man, it's going to be really tough for safeties and linebackers in particular for the opposition to be able to cover all these guys. We know Luther Burden's been great. We know Theo Weiss has been great. Mookie Cooper's been a stalwart as well, in my opinion. The more Mekhi Miller can get back involved after recovering from his hand injury in particular. And I've got a Marquise Johnson snap I'm going to pull up here in just a little bit that's going to illustrate my point about how he's not just a speed guy, he's a real receiver as well. And you know what? Since I brought up Marquise Johnson, let's show this snap here later in the second half. Go a little bit out of order here. Well, you'll see Marquise Johnson on the left side of your screen. I want to focus on this safety here, number 13 for Tennessee. You'll notice what happens here. Johnson runs a go route, essentially, and the free safety here, who really should be going with Johnson, actually goes with Mookie Cooper here and follows him down the middle of the field, leaving Johnson wide open. But you'll notice where Johnson is originally running this route, more toward down the middle of the field, if Cook uncorks the ball in that direction, he is possibly bringing number 13 back into the play here. You'll notice he turns his head around going, whoops, I made a mistake here. Well, if Brady Cook is forced to throw that ball back inside, that's a much more dangerous throw. But you'll notice that Johnson here, the receiver, he's got his head back looking at Cook and realizes, oh, my guy is scrambling out to the right here. I need to flip my head around and go back the other way. Makes this a much, much easier throw for Cook. And actually, well, Johnson does a nice job, as I said in my previous show, of adjusting back to this football. That's not an easy play here. Again, making my point that he is so much more than just a sprinter. This is a guy who can track the football. And obviously, as we saw against Kentucky, made just a tremendous play on the ball on that fake punt, one of the great plays in Mizzou history. Here's another great play here by a guy who I think has a really bright future for the Tigers. Now, when it comes to Cody Schrader's Saturday, obviously there's so many good runs and snaps to pick from. It's almost hard to narrow it all down. So I'm actually going to show you a snap that was pretty innocuous at first glance. Here's Missouri, though, snapping the ball from its own 2, if perhaps the 3-yard line. Obviously, Schrader lined up in the end zone here. Not a comfortable feeling for any defense. As the ball snapped here, you'd think, oh, number 2 here for Tennessee. Well, he's got Schrader dead to rights, right? That surely this Division II running back is not going to outspeed this guy here. But in fact, that's exactly what happens here. This guy's thinking, I got the tackle here, no problem, I got the angle. But Schrader, I'm telling you, it almost seems like he's faster to me this year than last season, a little more agile, whatever it is. I can certainly believe that, by the way, by all accounts, just an absolute Brocco Levo-like workout warrior. So, this is a really simple play here. It doesn't look like much. Okay, he steps out of bounds at the 6-yard line, right? Just a simple little 3-yard gain here. But this is actually a drive that Missouri ends up punting from midfield. So again, just a huge moment here, despite the fact that a simple gain, a drive that Missouri doesn't even get points on, but this type of run here ends up flipping field position because actually Schrader is a heck of a lot faster and more agile this season than I think most people are giving him credit for right now. Oh, and by the way, on the very next snap for Missouri, tough sequence here, tough series for number 2 on Tennessee. I'll be a gentleman and not bother looking up his actual name for you. We'll just stick with number 2 for now because, boy, old number 2, it was a tough moment here on 3rd down. Really, Brady Cook has nothing to throw to here in terms of open receivers, but speaking of people who can make guys miss and who are faster than you think, hey, how about Brady Cook? A guy who just completely avoids a safety right here. And yes, number 2, right here he's thinking, hey, I got the quarterback, no problem. Well, meet Cody Schrader again, gets just enough of a block on him. Cook scrambles for the first down, much to the delight of that person in the mittens in front of me. But, again, just a hidden moment here. A big first down, obviously, on 3rd down. Missouri gets it down, ultimately punts from midfield. If Missouri punts from right there, or God forbid gives up a safety or something, could be a very much a different ball game. It's obviously a much closer game at this point. I believe 10-7 Missouri. I believe that's the score. So you get it there. Tennessee maybe gets the ball back at midfield, goes down and scores. Could be a completely different feel to this ball game. And you know what? Dalen Carey's, I would say, the cherry on the sundae, the pick 6, the interception he returned for a touchdown for Missouri against Tennessee. I think the seeds of that particular play were sown very early in the ball game. So I do want to tell you all about that coming up. Plus, we'll look at Brady Cook's lone interception from the football game as well. But you know what? If you want to go to the basketball game tonight, I have a suggestion for you. It's called Game Time, the cheapest and easiest way to get last-minute tickets. And by the way, Mizzou Arena could not be a more fun experience right now. I guarantee you the Tigers are going to make a few more shots tonight. So if you've ever had a frustrating ticking buying experience, I promise you Game Time is where it's at. $6 to get into Mizzou Arena tonight, all-in pricing. Take the guesswork out of buying tickets with Game Time. Download the app, create an account, and use code LOCKEDONCollege for $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply. Again, create an account and redeem code LOCKEDONCOLLEGE for $20 off. Download Game Time today. Last-minute tickets, lowest price, guaranteed. So the interesting thing about the Josh Heupel offense, and if you're a Missouri fan from the last few years and pay attention really closely, this will be not really news to you, but Josh Heupel's offense is actually, while obviously high-powered, scores a lot of points, effective, all that good stuff, there's no doubt that it's actually quite simple. In fact, you just see Heupel run a lot of the same concepts over and over and over again. But even though it's simple, on the other side of that equation, what it does require is a lot of quick and precise decision-making by your quarterback. And I think I can give you a pretty good example of that here. Now, what you're going to see here on the left side of your screen, on the extreme left, you're going to see the outside receiver run a quick 5-yard hitch. And then on the inside, I believe that's Squirrel White, the slot player is going to run just a quick slant route. And what you're going to see here is a real cat and mouse game between number 3, Sidney Williams, the safety, and really Joe Milton and the whole Tennessee offense here. You'll notice that there's a good reason that, well, Tennessee ran this route quite a bit. Number one, it's effective here. Goes for a pretty good Tennessee gain here for about 25 yards or so to midfield. But you'll notice Sidney Williams here obviously peeking toward the line of scrimmage here to stop the run, number 3. He's by the goalpost here if you're watching on YouTube. He takes a step inside. Joe Milton sells the fake, sells the run, and, well, that pass is just past him here, just inside of Williams. So the point here is eventually that's the route that Dalen Carey would get. You see later in the ball game, Missouri more able to sit on that type of route because, well, you don't have to respect the run quite as much. And again, that just shows you there's such a fine line between a big play here for Tennessee and a turnover. If Williams just, if he sits here, maybe then Joe Milton decides to hand the ball off. That's the other thing. That's where the quick and decisive decision-making comes into play here, despite what is a simplistic offense in terms of, hey, they run a lot of the same concepts over and over and over again. And, well, this is a route combination that you saw, in particular on the right side of the Tennessee offense. You saw this over and over again, and eventually Missouri was able to take advantage of that tendency because, in my opinion, well, the threat of the run was simply gone. And again, here's another snap from the Tennessee offense to help prove my point here. Remember the route combination I just showed you on the right side of the Tennessee offense? Well, we're about to see it here right again. Literally the exact same route combination. This time the ball thrown to the outside to the 5-yard hitch player. Though this time Missouri in a rare zone defense. Dalen Carey passes off Squirrel White there, the slot player, comes back to the hitch, nearly picks that pass off. So Carey almost with a pick six right there before the one he ultimately got in the fourth quarter. So clearly Missouri has seen this route combination about, 5 to 10 times it feels like in this game already. So you can see why, again, as I said, without the threat of the run, this was almost inevitable. The seeds of this pick were sown definitely earlier in this ball game. And on the offensive side of the ball for the Tigers, how about another nice Cody Schrader run and a really good play design by Kirby Moore? I've pointed out several times in the past how Luther Burton is just such a great jet sweep distraction player. Well, actually, you see Mookie Cooper is your jet sweep distraction player here. Ends up taking out not one really, but 2 players by just his presence alone. Of course, the guy on the outside has to account for him here. But notice the guy who's coming to the line of scrimmage. He just has to widen out his angle a little bit on this blitz to the point where, I took the wrong angle, and now Cody Schrader is just going to run right past me. So a great play design here by Kirby Moore. And by the way, look at this cut here by Cody Schrader. Let's go ahead and zoom in on this a little bit, in fact. he's running straight toward the line of scrimmage where you're going, not a whole lot here. In fact, there's a guy right on his right here who looks like he's ready to make the tackle, but Cody makes a beautiful cut here. Again, he is so much more agile, I think, inside. I don't know about the 40 time, but boy, his agility here inside the mess here, inside the line, inside the, the jumbled up mess that is the line of scrimmage at times. He just finds ways to bounce outside, find the yardage, and right here getting about 25 yards or so for the Tigers. And now if you're Tennessee, it's a 22-6 ball game. Missouri driving with about 6 minutes and 39 seconds left in the fourth quarter. You know what? At this point, it's 3rd down and 4. You got to be thinking, I am tired of watching all this jet motion stuff fool my eyes. They're just wanting to hand it to this Schrader kid every time. Let's just go to the line of scrimmage. And apparently that's exactly what happens here on the outside for Tennessee. This guy's unblocked, and instead of thinking, dang it, there's probably a reason I'm unblocked, he thinks, aha, now's my time to shine, and I'm going to kill this Cody Schrader kid. Only for Brady Cook to pull the ball, throw it to Luther Burton, who we've seen this play a million times for Missouri, but Burton with a relatively quiet game until this moment. Yeah, it's just an easy little jaunt to the end zone from that point. If you let Burton get to the outside on you like that, good luck. That's really hard to defend. Again, just great play design here. Again, motion by Mekhi Miller, in fact, but it's actually the late motion, the post-snap motion by Burton, who's essentially a tight end here, goes across the line of scrimmage, catches the ball. Again, this is a classic Missouri play here, but one they hadn't really run all game, hadn't exactly been force-feeding Luther Burton the ball by any means. No, it was Cody Schrader who has been getting his number called the entire game. So while Luther Burton at times has been a distraction for other people, well, it turns out the old Truman State kid was the distraction, the very effective one at that helped Luther Burton get into the end zone to seal the victory. And coming up, one more beautiful call and play design by Kirby Moore, this time around the goal line, similar to a play Missouri's run effectively a couple times this year, but with a little bit of a twist. Plus, we will break down the one turnover by the Missouri passing game as well. But first, did you know the Jace case provides 5 life-saving medical antibiotics for emergency use? Well, fortunately for me, I haven't had any medical emergencies, but my Jace case did come in awfully handy a few weeks ago when I had an ear infection that needed some clearing up. And yes, apparently adults can still get ear infections too, but you know what? The Jace case really came in handy and made my life much simpler. When you have small children, the last thing you want to do is take hours out of your day going to the ER or urgent care or something like that. So Jace Medical worked for me, and I know it can work for you as well. A verified customer had this to say about Jace. I am thankful for this service. Supply chain issues caused me to cut my pills in half. Prices are lower than local pharmacies. I highly recommend this for everyone. So if you or someone you love would like to get some peace of mind by having a year's supply of any daily med, go to jacemedical.com to see if it's offered for you. Remember to use the promo code LOCKEDON for $20 off your first purchase at jacemedical.com. Well, I got to pick one nit of this beautiful football performance, the interception by Missouri, but we'll close out the show with that. Let's stay positive and go with a nicely designed red zone play here by the Missouri offense and Brady Cook. And if you've noticed a couple times Missouri has run a similar play to this, I believe against LSU and Kentucky, about in this same spot around the 5-yard line. Well, here comes Luther Burton in motion. And what has happened here in the past, Missouri has faked the toss to Luther Burton only for Brady Cook to run the ball into the end zone. But instead this time, we're going to toss it this way. No, we're not. We're actually going to fake the toss the other way against Brady Cook. And poor number 4 here is utterly confused. He's the unblocked defensive lineman here. He's going, wait, I'm going toward Burton. No, wait, I'm going toward the quarterback. No, wait, he's not pitching it. Oh, darn it, he's in the end zone. So, again, just putting so many players in a bind here. It's really unbelievable. And while the kid is technically gets a hand on Cook, probably is not even really particularly close to actually making the play. Cook ends up walking into the end zone. So you just got to love, I love that Kirby Moore is not content to just simply turn around and hand the ball off into the running back, run him back into the stuffed up A gap is often the case in college football and NFL football these days. Much more creative stuff, and you have that kind of freedom when you have a guy who can run the ball from the quarterback position like Brady Cook. So again, great creativity there by Kirby Moore. So on the interception for Brady Cook and Missouri, you've got a third down situation here, 3rd down and 11. Obviously, what you don't want to do is turn the ball over. Obviously, at any time, you don't want to do that. But when you've got a pretty likely Harrison Mevis made field goal here, to me, this ball's a little bit forced here by Cook. And, oh, wouldn't you know it, it's our old buddy, number 2 for Tennessee. He's the one who picks the ball off here early in the game. So, you know what? Maybe I shouldn't have been so nice to him early in the program. But in all seriousness, though, you see 2 just kind of sitting in the middle of the field there, almost, I wouldn't say that's a robber coverage. I wouldn't go that far, but that's essentially what it ends up being. He's in deep coverage there. Nobody really goes into his zone. So he has the freedom to come back down to the middle of the field and pick this ball off. Now, what you might notice here, Luther Burton is running essentially a post pattern here across the middle of the field, and he stops his route. He sees zone coverage here and thinks, oh, I'll just sit here next to number 44. And I don't know if that's a good decision or not. And I truly mean that. I'm not sure if that should be on Cook or that's on Burton, but clearly there is a bit of a miscommunication here. Cook is expecting Burton to continue on that post route across the middle of the field, whereas Burton is clearly thinking, hey, zone coverage here, I'm going to stop my route, sit in the middle of the field and give my quarterback a place to throw the ball. As I look at this, to me, this seems like it's more on Cook than Burton. I've seen some people say, oh, that's actually on Burton there for stopping his route. I don't know. I'm not so sure. I don't know the exact assignments here, the exact coverage, any of that stuff. I'm just guessing here. But to me, you look at what Burton's looking at here, it makes a lot of sense why he would just try to sit in the zone there. But obviously, Brady Cook was expecting something else. Bad play here for Missouri early in the ball game. Fortunately, that's about all Tennessee had to get excited about here in the first half, and other than the beautiful pass for the touchdown by Joe Milton, of course. But, yeah, just wanted to break this play down because it's about as bad as it got for Missouri in this ball game. Don't really have any other nits to pick than that. That's just kind of one of those stuff happens. Let's just get on the same page for next week type of deals to me. And as always, thanks for making Locked On Mizzou your first listen every day. And for you everydayers tomorrow on the program, of course, we'll talk about what Eli Drinkwitz had to say to the media. And, of course, the Missouri SIU Edwardsville basketball game tonight as well. I'll have all of my thoughts and observations from that, too. So I'll see you tomorrow right here on Locked On Mizzou.